Pisces, welcome to a special reading for September that is connected to relationships called the Three of Swords Tarot Spread for Delving into a Heartbreak, created by Light Ones, and you can find her. I'll have the link below, I'm sure, but I looked her up on Instagram to see what she was all about. So she's doing these kinds of things, and I assume she created this reading, or spread, I should say. I'm doing the reading. Okay, so it's just a 4-card spread. I'm using the Light Seers Tarot deck, and we'll take it from there. Now, this is the thing. Will all the cards show up on the screen? We shall see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And some of these cards I'm still drawing for the first time, so it's kind of interesting. Oh, that's not... I want you to see all these cards, even though I'm going to... I'm still getting used to this. I'm sorry. I was able to do it before. There. I think you can see it better now. It's a little bit off kilter. Okay, I'm just going to start. The first position is what caused the heartbreak? And we have the 4 of Pentacles. And you see in this is a deck that is faithful to the Rider-Waite Smith deck in terms of the imagery, because in the other deck, a man is clutching a gold coin or a pentacle. In this one, you have this woman, she's clutching her coin purse. So it's perfect. Kind of an updated version of that. And, sorry, I'm just trying to center it. But the thing is that this is a card of financial security, issues in general, that kind of thing. And so what that can mean is that some Pisces people may have some kind of arguments about money in some way. Either that one person was the one that was responsible for the finances and the other person was not. Maybe one person was being too materialistic in the relationship, or one person was being too much of a spendthrift. And they say that money is the number one cause of relationship struggles. And that might have contributed to there being some kind of a problem, one way or the other. And by the way, it's important to note that even if one person has broken up with the other person, it doesn't mean that they wanted to break up. They may have felt like that was the only thing they could do to preserve their sanity, or because there was no way to find common ground. But it doesn't make it not sad, even if you took the initiative and if you were the one who felt like the other party was not carrying their weight, or they were somehow taking advantage of you financially. That may have been difficult for you. It may not have been something that you just wanted to do, but you felt that you had to do. Okay. And, I'm hoping that people will see this reading as spiritual entertainment, I call it, because this may not resonate with you 100% if you broke up with somebody and it was of a different cause. But I want you to think about that aspect regardless, because that can come into relationships. It's kind of funny, though, that I got 4, there are 4 cards in this. I've got the Pentacles, and I've got the Emperor, and that's the number 4. And I have the 4 of Cups. So I have 4, 4, 4. That is kind of interesting, because number 4, we're in a 4 universal year, and that number is connected to Saturn, which is the, root chakra, is connected to like security and our foundation and things like that. Okay. So the second position is what is unable to be seen about the heartbreak. So what is lying beneath the surface? What is being unacknowledged? Maybe just not the person not putting two and two together. So this is actually kind of a calming type of a thing to contemplate, because what it can do is make you aware of other things that were really behind whatever it is. So I got the Emperor, which is supposed to be connected to Aries. And the Emperor is a card of law and order. What is he holding? Oh, he's holding, looks like a king. And, like a chess piece, like the king. And checkmate. Well, that wouldn't be, the queen does checkmate, doesn't she? I used to play chess as a kid, but I haven't played in a long time. But the point is that the Emperor can be like the father, but it can be, so it's the authority figure, but it can be this person who is very controlling. So going back to the Four of Pentacles, perhaps that's what it was. Hello, maybe you were with somebody who was being way too controlling over money. I'm adjusting the lighting. It's probably too overexposed. Over controlling with money, and that made it hard to be in the relationship altogether, because if you're with somebody who's like that, they're not really interested in, it's not because they want to save money or anything like that. They want to limit your ability to do things, to have your freedom. They want to be the one who calls the shots. So an example would be, and I don't want to make this a male-female thing, and definitely I love men, but let's say a woman is staying home with and raising children, and she's not making money outside of the home, and the partner is using that material dependency to control in other areas as well. And that can, over time, lead to the erosion of feelings and things like that. And, Pisces is a sign that's very accommodating typically, unless you have a lot of Aries, and then you might get really pissed off at being controlled this way. But in general, this could lead to rebellion. That's just human nature. Human beings love to be free, and that to them is very important. And sooner or later, they will seek that out. And this could be even like with yourself. If you were the one that was controlling, that it made you feel more in control of life. You may, that's another thing to remember, that when somebody is being controlling, it doesn't mean they're an evil, bad person. Sometimes it can be very dangerous when you're with somebody who's controlling. So don't get me wrong. But for other people, it's simply a way that they can feel more empowered in their life. It's not a good way, but it's the way that they seek to feel a sense of empowerment. So the third position is one that I like. What is the lesson learned? And isn't this a beautiful card? I love the, because that's one of my favorite colors, is that kind of blue-green, turquoise kind of color. Page of Pentacles. Yeah, this is kind of like a modern deck, obviously. But it still is that same pose that you would see in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So the Page of Pentacles is about starting something, the early stages of maybe your own business. It can be maybe how you think about money. This is about communication and communicating about money, maybe before you get involved with somebody, really paying attention to their attitudes towards money, because this is one of the biggest ways that people do control one another. So it's important to see the signs, the possible red flags ahead of time. An example, you're going out to dinner and you have a partner who is a very stingy tipper. Generosity is always something that is I admire. Not just if somebody's being generous towards me, but just in general. And if somebody, the way somebody treats the waitstaff, including how much they tip, is indicative of, to me, how they interact with money, and if they use it for power, if they use it as punitive, kind of like punishment towards people. The way that they, like, for instance, if somebody is buying a gift and they are, showering people with money and then taking it back when they're mad at that person, or when I say taking it back, I mean not being as generous. It's like conditional, you know what I mean? So it's a form of control, and you can see these things ahead of time. So, but also having communications about these things. And if, like, for instance, two people are thinking of having children, saying, okay, what are we going to do about the money situation? Because we both have to feel like we're safe, that we're not dependent on the other person. Because sometimes the other person who is going off to work feels resentful. They think, oh, that person hasn't made. They're staying home and they're eating bonbons and they're watching soap operas. And they don't realize the kind of work that goes into being a constant caregiver, where you don't get to have an hour lunch break away from it, where you have to be there 24/7, and in some cases providing the nourishment for the child with your own body, whatever. I mean, these things are important. The other thing is, how can you create something on your own where you don't need to be dependent on anybody else for money? So starting your own business. Page of Pentacles, thinking of ideas of how you can make money on your own, possibly from home if you are, in that situation. And the last card is, what is the first step needed to move forward to healing? Now, obviously, I'm like acting as if this is a conflict that you can deal with. And I would like to say, too, that heartbreak doesn't have to mean that people separate forever. It could simply mean that there is the sense of betrayal because you thought you were on the same page. So, I'm kind of altering it because these cards are not severe. I've gotten I've started this series and, getting the Tower card or getting cards that seem more like, the Death card. So that kind of thing. So what's the first step in healing? The Four of Cups. This is a card of really looking at what is, what your feelings are, not feeling your feelings and where dissatisfaction is creeping in. So if you are currently in a relationship and you're fighting about money, it could be a smokescreen for something that's more serious, is what I'm saying. And being able to see that and accept that might be the reality of the situation is very important, because it leads to the possibility of actual change. Otherwise, it's just spinning your wheels and trying to make something okay that's not okay. If you are somebody who has broken up with someone, the first step in healing is looking at any kind of depression or lack of meh quality in your life, where life doesn't feel satisfying for you. Because it might be that you're trying to find it in relationship instead of connecting with yourself at a deeper level. And Pisces is one of those signs that is very, very intuitive, but not necessarily perceptive of themselves, not necessarily fully aware of their own stuff. Because the reason for this happens to people who are very psychic in general, is that the subjectivity that water signs possess, very personal to them, that makes them wonderful artists, where they can really convey the experiences they've had, can make it hard to like step outside of that and see yourself from a higher perspective, that is not emotional, is not triggered by emotions, and therefore your subjective feelings, where you can just look at the situation dispassionately and say, okay, well, this is what I did wrong here. You're too involved in it, in other words. So the Four of Cups is a card of dissatisfaction in life, and yet a lot of times, and this is not just unique to Pisces, this is the human condition, people will tend to run to certain things trying to fill up that sense of dissatisfaction with something that cannot do that for them. So, so that's what I have for you, Pisces. I hope that you receive something from this. If you would like a love reading, which I combine your natal chart and or a relationship reading, looking at you and another person, identifying some of these clashes, and is this relationship doomed? Obviously, I can't say for sure just by looking at charts, but it can give definite food for thought. And especially when you're really into it and you have a hard time seeing it. Natal chart interpretations, yada yada. The link is below. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.